Welcome to Peaceful Life Journey. Today's story is not about heroes born with power. It's about an ordinary boy who decided to fight his pain instead of running from it. This is the story of Ashfaq, a young boy who learned the meaning of strength the hardest way possible. Ashfaq was only 18 when he realized that life was not going to give him anything easily. He wasn't from a rich family. He didn't have famous parents or expensive schools behind him. All he had was a small room, a few books, and a dream that felt too big for someone like him. While others laughed, chilled, and scrolled through their phones, Ashfaq sat silently, wondering why he felt stuck, why his life felt like a cage with invisible walls. He wanted success, but nothing seemed to work. His marks were average, his confidence was low, and his friends were moving ahead while he stood still. Every night he'd look at the ceiling and think, maybe I'm not meant for greatness. But somewhere inside, a small voice refused to die. It kept whispering, "You're not done yet." Days turned into months. People mocked him for dreaming big. You can't even speak confidently. You'll never make it." Those words cut deep. But pain, that's where growth begins. That's where a person either breaks or becomes unbreakable. And Ashfaq slowly began to understand this truth. He stopped wasting time. He began reading, watching motivational videos, learning skills online, and training his mind to stay focused. He started waking up early, not because someone told him to, but because his hunger was now louder than his excuses. The world was still the same, harsh, cold, and unfair, but he was no longer the same boy. Some mornings he'd go for a run before sunrise. The air was cold, his legs hurt, his breath burned, but he kept running. With every step he repeated in his mind, no pain, no growth. He wasn't just running, he was building himself. There were days he failed badly. He tried to start a small online business and it failed. He applied for a scholarship and it was rejected. He recorded motivational videos and nobody watched. His efforts went unseen, unappreciated, unnoticed. But he didn't stop, because he had learned that pain wasn't punishment. It was preparation. Slowly, pain became his teacher. It taught him patience when things didn't go his way. It taught him strength when people left him. It taught him silence when arguments weren't worth it. And most of all, it taught him that growth never feels comfortable. One evening, after another long day of rejection, Ashfaq sat by his window watching the city lights. He thought about quitting. His eyes were tired, his heart heavier than ever. But then he remembered the boy who once believed he couldn't even begin. And now here he was, still standing, still fighting. That was growth. Painful, invisible, but real. The next morning he began again. He practiced speaking, not to impress others, but to improve himself. He worked on his projects late at night. He failed again, but every failure hurt a little less. Because now he understood pain is not the enemy. Comfort is. Months later, something changed. People who once laughed at him started asking for advice. Teachers noticed his confidence. His first online video crossed thousands of views. His small startup idea got attention. The world that once ignored him began to listen. Because he didn't give up when nobody believed in him. Ashfaq didn't become successful overnight. He became strong first. And strength brought success. He looked back one day and realized the moments he hated most, the sleepless nights, the loneliness, the pain, were the exact moments that built him. Without them, he would have never grown. Pain was never there to destroy him. It was there to prepare him for the person he was meant to be. And that's the truth most people never understand. We all want growth, confidence, success, happiness, but we run away from pain, not knowing they are the same path. You can't climb higher if you're not willing to get tired. You can't shine if you're not willing to go through the dark. Ashfaq now speaks in seminars, sharing his journey. He doesn't show off luxury. He shares lessons. He tells young people, don't be afraid of being uncomfortable. Don't be afraid of failure. Don't run from pain. It's the only gym where your soul grows stronger. He still faces challenges, but he no longer fears them. He welcomes them because he knows every pain carries a lesson, and every lesson builds strength. Life didn't become easier. He became tougher. And that's how an 18-year-old boy with nothing, no money, no fame, no backup, it became an example of resilience. His success didn't come from luck. It came from consistency, belief, and courage to endure pain. Because in the end, that's the rule of life. You grow through what you go through. No pain, no growth.